What is the worst fetish request that you have turned down? I had a good friend from work ask me to strangle her in the girls' bathroom until she passed out. She promised to come back to life, said it was one of her fantasies to get strangled by a coworker. I said no. 000000000 lol. A Japanese guy asked me, Korean, to roleplay being a comfort woman. He wanted me to stop taking birth control so he could make me pregnant. Not because he wanted a kid, he just wanted me to be visibly pregnant because he was so turned on by pregnant women. Do a handstand. Just say you wanna see my tits. Don't make me do gymnastics for that. Foot and anal fetish. Warned them I would not be indulging fetishes from the jump. They ignored, and tried me. Came at me with that sex positive / everyone has a fetish bullshit manipulation. Nah. I have witnessed a foot fetishist being escorted out of a backyard cookout because a bunch of 14-year-old girls peeped his shit, and raised the alarm. Too many feet dudes do shit, sends consent. My ex had a fetish for balloons and wanted me to bounce on one until it popped. Having my ex-boyfriend watch me through the phone when giving him a B.J, using a Final Fantasy cat ear filter on me. Like WTF. I had some guy literally ask me to punch the absolute shit out of his chest. Like he literally liked to be hit hard. That's a fuck no for me. I'm not trying to MMA some dude mid-fuck. I once had a guy ask if I could fuck his dad while he listened from another room. I thought he was joking and laughed in his face. Like, big guffawing laughs. Narrator, he was not joking. I had a date pick up my foot and start rubbing it, in the restaurant, without consent, and complimented me on my elegant arches. I noped out of there pretty quickly. A guy I met online wanted me to burp on command for him. Like, I can belch like a man 3 times my size, but it's not something I can control. He was so demanding about it, kept pestering me to send him an audio recording. I had a guy tell me he wanted to nail me toe across. We were talking about what we were looking for on Tinder and he told me that he was looking for a woman who shares his fetish in order to marry them. I was curious and asked about the fetish and he told me that he wants to crucify me. With actual nails through the hands and feet. After I took him that wasn't my thing, he tried to convince me. With the argument that all my fetishes were pretty much the same. My ex liked to stick his dick in my armpit. Does that count? LOL. I'm into a lot of things and generally open-minded. My girlfriend and I are part of our local alternative lifestyle group. By far the worst kink or fetish is the one someone tries to force on you. I've sat tied up in a diaper while watching my girlfriend get dominated by a man. It was fun, it was fine. We all talked about it, decided to try it. The guy who insists on making his feet part of every sexual encounter even when no one wants to. That's the worst. Such a huge turn off when someone tries to force their kinks. First time matching with this guy, and he asked what's my size of stocking so I can wear it for our first date. A guy I met for the first time at a Waffle House. One chose to meet somewhere public cause I'm a skeptic. After a somewhat normal conversation, just jumped the rails and got giddy about how delighted he was I wore flip-flops that day, and ended that excitement with trying to entice me to want to let him photograph my feet playing with a random man's mouth and testicles, as well as a variety of food items. Was around 17 at the time, so L just politely pretended to be flattered and said LD let him know after I had time to consider the whole thing. Clenched my keys to my car, and immediately blocked all his info, and isolated for a few weeks. A white guy wanted to only sleep with me because I'm black. Not bad, but still. I thought it was all in my head until something told me to actually look at his Twitter. I wasn't wrong. Every tweet or retweet of his was about sexualizing black women, including his wife. LOL, I have done a lot of the things mentioned here. What I haven't accommodated was a guy who wanted me to go on his chest. When I declined, he offered to lay under his glass coffee table while I squatted on top of it and did my thing. He offered me many doll hairs for the act, but I politely declined and noped the heck out of there. Pigtails. I've had 2 separate lovers request me to put my hair in pigtails for sexual gratification. I'm adventurous and have done all sorts of weird things for the sake of pleasing my partner, but I draw the line at pigtails because I hate feeling infantilized and that hairstyle just makes me feel so stupid. I had a FWB who wanted me to cut her legs/ass during foreplay. Nope. I kinda like blood, but I ain't gonna cut nobody. Dated a guy in college who had a quicksand fetish. I don't even know how that would work. Also, where does quicksand even exist? I live in the Midwest USA, so obviously turned it down. Dated this one CEO and he wanted me to humiliate him before and during sex. I noped out of there. Not my jam. The worst was this guy who really wanted me to be bi because he was super into lesbian porn. But also, fuck kink shaming. He asked, unprompted, if LD want him to come in a glass every day for a week, and store the glass in the fridge so I could drink it when I saw him next. I declined and I don't think I saw him after that. Turns out he was a little unhinged. Oh, I forgot to mention the guy who wanted me to insult his race. He wanted me to make a video and send it to him. Yeah, sure buddy, I'm going to record myself using slurs, then send it to you to do whatever you want with it. Holy cow, was he persistent. I'm a dama, so I love fetishes, but I cannot stand when some men use playing with me to hide their own penis worship or bi curiosity, i.e. cuckolding, forced bi, etc. Wanting me to give him full domain over my clothing choice daily as a sub-role to him. I told him I worked at a dog kennel at the time and would be wearing shitty pants and work shirts most days. And it died there. To straddle him and rub around to smear period blood all over him. I just didn't want the mess, or the chance it would get on me. I did date a guy with a foot fetish for a couple years. It didn't bother me because feet don't particularly disgust or offend me. I could kind of see where he was coming from. And I do believe everyone has one favorite physical trait they're attracted to, and I don't see how feet are any different than long hair or beards or chest hair or tattoos. I've had 2 guys ask to piss on me. One took it above and beyond, trying to explain piss to me like it was the nectar of the gods, promising that it will never be the stinky morning piss and that my beauty would be accentuated by the golden stream extra points because I was a minor in both instances and these were men in their 20s. I haven't come across anything super freaky. Booty went on a date with a guy once and he chose the restaurant. Turns out he chose it cause he was friends every single employee and ignored me the entire date cause he was chatting with his buds. I left and he started blowing up my phone begging for pictures of my feet. Said he took me on a date cause I looked like I had pretty feet. I declined. Wouldn't have anyway cause I'm not into that, but especially not after how rude he was. Happened years ago, but didn't ever meet the guy in person, but we matched on Tinder and he wanted me to piss on him during sex. I said I for sure wasn't into that and he kept up with you don't know till you try until I unmatched him. Standing in the man's living room for the first time. After hanging our coats, he reached back into the closet, gave me a big smile and pulled out a yellow and white striped, furry, cat costume and asked me, would you like to be my little kitten tonight? I laughed so hard I nearly wet myself. Not the kind of worst you were looking for, I imagine. I got a message asking me to adopt a dog and record having sex with it for like $350. First of all, what the fuck? Second, dude, $350 would only cover the adoption fee and food for a few weeks. Who TF is paying for the dog after that? I obviously wouldn't do it even if I was offered more, but the fact that it was so little added more insult to injury. LOL. I had sex with an older guy and then in the middle of it he started dirty talking pedophile stuff. He was an actual pedophile but I had no idea until then. I looked younger than I was though he knew I was an adult. I was so shocked and disgusted but froze in the spot, so could not turn him down as such. I just ignored it and let him finish basically. And then I got my shit and got out of there. Back when I was a smoker, I went on a date with this man LD been talking to for a while. I excused myself after the meal and a drink to go have a smoke. He followed me outside and just stared at me while L had a few drags. He asked me to pose and blow the smoke in his face. I just kind of stared at him while still smoking. This must have been a thing for him because he then grabbed his dick through his pants and kind of fondled it. I just turned and walked away back to my car and left. He hit me up later on that night and asked for a video of me smoking and blowing it at the camera. I responded with a good "Oh, did me leaving without saying anything to you, or texting you, not get the point across, I'm not into this." And his was, "You could learn to be, bruh." I quit shortly after that. So I mean, thanks for making me so uncomfortable that I couldn't smoke anymore, but also, fuck for not understanding personal boundaries. Evangelist. He wanted to buy all of my meals only if they were from fast food restaurants. And he wanted me to send a picture of my weight on the scale daily and also show him, on my body, how much weight I would be gaining. He said he wanted me to gain hundreds of pounds. About 3 years ago briefly dated a guy who asked me to go to the gym, get all sweaty, and then go right to his house so he could lick the sweat off that beautiful body. I said no. I stopped seeing him about a week later when he curled up in my lap and started sucking my thumb. I am not one to kink shame, but those things are not for me. My ex is a porn addict and has more fetishes than I can count, so cuckolding because I just didn't feel good at it, and he nagged me so much it took the fun out of exploring. But worst was probably that he asked me to breastfeed him if I got pregnant. Forced impregnation fetish, cum in my eyes, go ass to vag and ass to mouth voring, him calling me mommy, being strangled during sex and also deprived of air.